You see, for years, the name cancer whispered through my family like a phantom limb ache. Always there, always felt, even when unseen. My grandmother, her spirit as vibrant as the bougainvillea she tended, faded year by year. My uncle, a man built like an oak tree, was whittled down to a shadow. And then, the call about my mother. That's when the whisper turned into a scream in my own ears. I remembered sitting in the sterile waiting room, the fluorescent lights humming a dreadful tune, the air thick with unspoken fears. The doctor, a kind man with tired eyes, delivered the news. Metastatic, he said, and the word felt like a death sentence hanging in the air. My mother, barely 60, facing the same relentless battle. I felt helpless, angry, and utterly terrified. But what if I told you that the fear gripping us, the helplessness we feel when faced with this relentless enemy, is often rooted in a fundamental misunderstanding? What if the very things we believe are protecting us are in fact silently fueling the fire? And what if, just what if, there are simple, powerful truths that could change everything? Especially for those of us stepping into our 40s and beyond, when the whispers of vulnerability grow louder. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, a cold dread clutching your chest, thinking about the C word? Thinking about your parents, your children, or even yourself? The truth is, for most of us, over 40, that fear is a silent companion. We're told it's a genetic lottery, an unavoidable fate. But what if everything you've been led to believe is wrong? What if the real secret to preventing cancer after 40 isn't in a lab, but in 3 simple steps you can take starting tonight? Get ready, because what you're about to hear might just shock you. It was in room 27, amidst the hushed beeps of machines and the scent of antiseptic, that my world truly fractured. My mother, once so vibrant, was a frail silhouette against the pale hospital sheet. The doctor, a renowned oncologist, Professor Anya Sharma, sat by her bedside, her face etched with a quiet gravity. But what she said next wasn't about treatment, not directly. It was about prevention. You know, she began, her voice soft, almost conspiratorial, the greatest tragedy isn't always the disease itself, but the lack of knowledge that could have prevented it. She looked directly at me, her eyes holding a depth of understanding that few possess. We treat the symptoms, yes. We fight the fire. But what if we could prevent the spark from ever igniting? I remember scoffing internally. Prevention? If we'd done everything right. Healthy food, regular checkups, no smoking. This was just bad luck. But Professor Sharma, as if reading my thoughts, leaned in closer. What if I told you that 90% of cancers are metabolic diseases, not primarily genetic, as many believe? This changes everything. My mind reeled. Metabolic? And my grandmother, my mother, my mother? They all suffered from various lifestyle illnesses alongside their cancer. Diabetes, heart issues, chronic inflammation. Could they be connected? Professor Sharma continued, her voice gaining a quiet intensity. Imagine your cells as tiny power plants, mitochondria, constantly producing energy. When these power plants are damaged by our modern diets, chronic stress, lack of movement, they don't die, they adapt. They switch to an ancient, inefficient backup system. Fermentation. And what fuels this desperate backup? Glucose and glutamine, sugar, carbs. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. The endless bread, the sweet treats, the processed snacks we'd always considered harmless, the constant rush, the sleepless nights. Could that be feeding the monster? The thought was terrifying, yet exhilarating. Because if it was true, it meant we weren't helpless. It meant we had power. Professor Sharma then revealed something even more astounding. Cancer cells, she explained, are metabolic cripples. They can't use fat for fuel. They are utterly dependent on glucose and glutamine. So what if we simply starve them? This wasn't some radical, unproven theory. This was decades of research by brilliant minds, suppressed or simply overshadowed by a system built on treatment, not prevention. She spoke of Dr. Thomas Seyfried, a leading cancer researcher, whose work on cancer as a metabolic disease has been revolutionary. It wasn't about a magic pill. It was about understanding the enemy's Achilles heel. The real tragedy, she concluded, her voice barely a whisper, is that this knowledge, these simple steps, are not yet common practice. They are available, they are powerful, and they can change the trajectory of millions of lives, especially for those of you entering your prime years, past 40, when the body's vulnerabilities often begin to reveal themselves. She then laid out the 3 simple steps, a method so deceptively simple, it felt almost too good to be true, yet backed by science that resonated deep within me. This wasn't just about my mother anymore. It was about me. It was about everyone I loved. And it was about giving others the knowledge I desperately wished my family had possessed. Here they are, the 3 simple steps that Professor Sharma unveiled, the secrets that can radically shift your cancer risk, especially after 40, when your body's metabolic pathways become more sensitive. Step 1. Starve the monster. The dietary revolution. This is the cornerstone. Imagine cutting off the enemy's food supply. What does cancer thrive on? Sugar and refined carbohydrates. Think breads, pastas, sweets, potatoes. These flood your system with glucose. What do cancer cells hate? Healthy fats, avocado, olive oil, butter, fatty fish, liver, eggs. When you switch to burning fat for fuel, your body produces ketones and cancer cells. They can't use ketones. It's like asking a gasoline car to run on water, Professor Sharma emphasized. Using the glucose ketone index as your personal guide, most Western diets have a GKI over 50, a breeding ground for cancer. It's a goal below 2.0. This simple shift isn't a diet. It's a metabolic reset. It's about taking away the enemy's favorite food. Step 2, move your body. Defeat the fuel, the power of movement. This isn't about running marathons. It's about consistency. Physical activity, even moderate, pulls glucose and glutamine out of your bloodstream. Think about it. Your muscles literally eat the fuel that cancer cells crave. A brisk walk daily, swimming, light strength training, creates an internal environment hostile to cancer. It's not just about burning calories. It's about actively depriving the enemy. Professor Sharma called it the internal cleanup crew. Step 3. The ancient healing protocol fasting. This was perhaps the most surprising. Whether it's intermittent fasting or occasional water fasting, it's a powerful tool. When you fast, your GKI drops significantly, activating deep cellular healing and cleansing processes. Your body enters a state where damaged cells, including precancerous ones, begin to die off, Professor Sharma cautioned. If you have an existing diagnosis, never do extended fasting without medical supervision. But for prevention, it's an incredible, accessible tool. It's like pressing a reset button on your cellular health. These weren't complex medical procedures. They were lifestyle shifts rooted in our body's ancient wisdom, ignored by modern convenience. The truth, as Professor Sharma revealed, was painfully simple, yet profoundly revolutionary. The cells in your brain, your heart, they almost never get cancer, she shared, her voice filled with wonder. Why? Because they cannot switch to fermentation. They are reliant on oxygen, on healthy mitochondria. If we keep our mitochondria healthy, if we stop feeding the fermentation process, we fundamentally change our susceptibility. This wasn't just hope. This was a blueprint. My mother's fight continues, but with every piece of this knowledge, a new kind of hope bloomed. Not just for her, but for all of us. This wasn't about luck. It was about choice. And for those of us navigating life after 40, facing the unspoken fears that linger in the shadows of our health, this knowledge is not just power, it's liberation. The system might be slow to adapt, the old ways deeply entrenched, but you don't have to wait. The power to drastically reduce your cancer risk, to starve the beast before it ever awakens, lies within these 3 simple steps. This isn't just theory. It's a profound shift in understanding, revealed by a doctor who dares to speak the unspoken truth. Can you believe this has been hidden in plain sight for so long? If this story resonated with you, if it sparked a flicker of hope or a jolt of understanding, it's because this video needed to reach you. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What was the most shocking revelation for you? And if you're ready to take the next step, to dive deeper into this revolutionary approach to health, subscribe to Health Treatment Center, but only if you have the courage to face the truth and reclaim your health. Don't let this vital knowledge fade into the background. Your future health might just depend on it.